What's good, Ohio crazy? How are you? Sleepy. I slept. It was okay. Trying to find a true crime story for us to watch. You still? I'm not. I'm not sleepy. What's good? You seen one earlier? Not sure if it's still live. What are you talking about? Oh, a true crime story. Low key. Guys, make sure to hit the like button as you come in. It really helps. Cool tattoo. Thank you. I love it. Sure, I would sing along Wing Wang. Favorite kind of cheese? That's insane. I don't know, for being for real. I'm really big on cheese. Madeline Soto, yes. I covered, well, not here, but I covered that case. It is crazy work. That case is just insane. I covered it the other day, actually. We watched like a video on it. I had already heard of it, of course, but I hadn't seen the video that they were talking about. What's up, Lip Boy? I'm alright. I'm really close to the camera. Guys, make sure to hit that like button, for real, for real. Good morning, beautiful. I'm from San Diego, California. I work now at Southwest Airlines. Ooh, Southwest. Stop. I don't want to. I want to start. I want to keep going. It's okay. You're very pretty. Thank you, Lip Boy. You're very sweet. I'm feeling like a mess right now. I am sick. I don't feel good. Hey, Southwest is good. At least it ain't Spirit. Yeah, Southwest is really good. I liked Southwest when I flew Southwest. No. You got strep throat. Ugh. Strep is one of the worst things. Ashley, wear that reddish lipstick. What? I don't know which one you're talking about. The red one that I used to wear, it got fucked up somehow. I don't know where it is. And I am not feeling lipstick currently. I'm not even feeling mascara. This is from yesterday morning. Like almost, well, not 24 hours ago, but getting close to 24. That's crazy. So what are we doing tonight, like, on the live? Well, I'm gonna find, like, a true crime video. We're gonna listen to it. I don't know. I'm trying to find one now. It took memberships away. It took all of it. Memberships are part of monetization. Don't make you fall asleep? Why would true crime make you fall asleep? You're not into the true crime. I don't know, guys. There's quite a few here. Why don't we go to fuck, what's her name? I forget. Who do we always watch, guys? I don't remember who it is that we watch. I forget the channel. Oh, Rotten Mango. Damn. Figured it out with no help. Damn. Do you guys remember the raw meat YouTuber we watched? That was insane. I was kind of wanting to watch. Me? No. I have you. You're my son. That's what I have. Yeah, when I was a kid, I didn't have any siblings like you. I was an only child. Okay. Well, you could have made friends. Of course. But why did you not? Yeah, there's no current lives. It's like 6 in the morning. We're about to pick something. Rice Cookie Killer, Disney Castle Murderer. He pushed killer. Or the killer pushed 2 people off. But it's not like recent. Yeah. Because I like it, Jerry. That's why. I enjoy it, okay? I enjoy the look. I like what I look like, okay, Jerry? Of course I sleep. Maybe not enough, but I do sleep. Yeah, I know you weren't. Most evil middle schooler. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know which one to listen to. No, I don't think so. Ohio Crazy. I don't think I ever have. Is it? What the fuck? Okay, I don't know which one to click on. I'm trying to find one for us to listen to. What's up, crazy? How are you? Damn, this is rough. How was your day? It's okay. Stock market's crashing, by the way. Yeah, chilly boo boo. Okay, let's listen to. No, we're listening. We're not listening to music right now. We're listening to true crime stuff.
There's no differences between Sunday or Wednesday. Today happened to be a Tuesday, and he's sitting in front of an all too familiar plate of the same food. 5 a.m. It starts with a steaming bowl of rice, each grain perfectly cooked. There's a cup of miso soup. The tofu pieces are just bobbing around at the top. There's a plate of salted salmon. The flesh is pink, it's glistening, it's prepared just right. This is a quintessential
It's
breakfast.
a severed head stabbed on Japanese school fence with note in mouth. Let's play a game.
Anyway, since all of it was going to be on the floor very, very soon. Kenta checks the time on the clock. It's more of a habit than anything, really. But he was never late. I mean, this is his morning routine. It is always the same. He is meticulous, but he likes to check the clock.
I have no mods here.
When he's done eating, he gets up to wash up and change into the same exact suit that he wears to work almost nearly 5 days a week. He mentally walks through the itinerary for the day. He has to get to work, meetings with all the teachers before the first bell rings. Then he would stand at the front and greet all of the incoming students. It sounds weird, but that's how school administrators, they set the tone for the kids for the school day. You walk in, you show your presence. He always stood by the blue gates of the school, and he would just wave, all the uniformed kids shuffling in. Kenta slips on his trusty little loafers, picks up his briefcase, kisses his wife goodbye with a smile, and he takes the exact same route. Every single day. He could probably do it blindfolded. It's almost automatic. I mean, at this point, it's muscle memory. But today was going to be different. Each step that Kenta takes, he's walking straight into literally the devil's fire. He just doesn't even know it yet. He takes the same route, turns the same corner, and he drops his briefcase onto the ground. His hand flies to his mouth. Maybe he lets out a scream. Maybe he didn't. Maybe it was just in his head. Somehow his hands, they fumble and they find the phone in his pocket. He pulls it out. He dials 110. Hello, what's your emergency? I'm at the Tomagaoka Junior High. Please come, hurry. Come quickly. They're threatening us. I'm sorry? Who's threatening you? Kento is now reading the letter in his hand, and he's shaking. The letter is written fully in red ink. It's handwritten. It says, "This is the beginning of a game. You stupid police. Try and stop me if you can.
Stupid police.
Murder is something that I cannot help but enjoy. There's nothing that I want to see more than people's deaths. Let the foul vegetables be punished with death. Let there be bloody judgment for my many years of bitterness." They say it's the beginning of a game. What does that even mean? The operator's trying to calm him down. Well, maybe it's a prank, sir. I mean, maybe perhaps one of the students left it behind. Where did you say you found the note? Did somebody deliver it? Was there a messenger?
I love that Angel Baby elevator.
The messenger. On the blue metal gates of the school, right next to the school sign that reads Tomagaoka Middle School. And their motto, loved, ideal, school.
It's 3:08 a.m. there. It's 6:08 a.m. here.
Sign, sprouting from one of the jagged metal picks of the fence is the severed head of an 11-year-old boy. The note was shoved in his mouth.
WTF is right. That's insane.
We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. The Anti-Recidivism Coalition is a Los Angeles-based nonprofit that aims to empower formerly and currently incarcerated people by providing a support network, comprehensive reentry service, the killer's fault. They never clarified how to even know how to play. The threatening letter that's found stuffed into the severed head's mouth, it came with a signature. It read in big, bold red letters, Saito Sakakibara. And underneath it is like this mysterious looking windmill symbol, almost like a logo, like they don't even know how to play.
Oops.
They should pursue me with more anger and more determination. Anyone who thinks I'm merely a novice, newbie criminal who can only kill children is mistaken. I possess the ability to kill the same person twice. From now on, if you misread my name or spoil my mood, I will kill 3 vegetables a week.
3 vegetables?
He calls humans vegetables. It felt like the city of Kobe in Japan was on lockdown. I mean, there was a deranged killer on the loose. Everyone has the potential to be a suspect, to be a victim. The headlines were flashing on every single TV screen in the city of Kobe. Every single newspaper that you walked past in big, bold letters would just read, Manhunt underway for Kobe child killer. Kobe city on edge as child killer remains at large. Kobe schools on high alert as killer search intensifies. What did the killer mean by vegetable? People are asking in the little streets, is he referring to children as vegetables or just like any other human as a vegetable? Like, what does it mean? Does he consider humans so subhuman compared to him that they're just rotten veggies to be disposed of? And what do you think he means when he's saying we're playing a dangerous game? A game of not getting caught? Is that what he's referring to? Why does he keep saying he's invisible? I don't get it. Why does he blame the school system? Is it because it's like too strict, too high pressure for young children? Does he have trauma from that? The chief investigator said he had never seen anything like this before. What does that mean? After a few days, schools in Kobe had to reopen back for students. But even then, each school, it felt like the Pentagon. Heightened security and police presence around the perimeter. I mean, the gates would open exactly at 8 a.m. By that point, all the students are waiting outside by the main gate, each standing next to their heavily protective parent. There is tension at every drop-off, every pickup. So much tension. The gates would open. The students would quietly, without saying a single word, shuffle inside directly to their seats. There would be no roaming about. There would be no getting in some light exercise around the schoolyard. They would go directly to their seats. The gate,
Damn,
which
there's 2
normally stays
people
open,
here.
would be slammed shut, triple locked, and there would be a guard at stand. Students would have emergency drill practices. They would drop math classes to take impromptu personal safety stranger danger classes.
There we go.
At 4 p.m., the school gates would be unlocked once more, and all the students would be
Who's
rushed
in
out.
chat right
Parents were
now?
just anxiously waiting for them. Parents would rush up to their child who's in uniform, snatch their hand, and beat
Yeah, I
it
see
directly
7
home.
now. It said
No stopping
2.
by the playground. No stopping by a friend's house. Immediately, we're going home. If kids, and that's a very big if kids were allowed to play at playgrounds, there was like a force field of parents surrounding them, just on pins and needles. You come back here. How many times did I tell you to stay in sight? That's enough. We're going home. They would grab their kids' hands, rush them past all the newspaper stands, and
Yeah,
they
it's
would
for
read, Kobe
YouTube.
residents live in fear as killer remains unidentified. If the police just had a general idea of who to look out for, a rough composite sketch, I mean, that would have erased a lot of the tension for the residents. But all they had was a severed head, lengthy, terrifying, threatening notes that are reminiscent of the Zodiac killer in the U.S., and one singular witness. A man who was near the school gates before the head was found stated that he saw something very odd. He saw someone very strange. He said that they were behaving just very bizarrely. He said, I think I saw the killer. I think he was carrying one of those plastic bags under his left arm, and the other one he was holding with his right hand. I would say that he's maybe mid-30s, mid-40s.
一つは左小脇に抱えてね、一つは40半ばから40ぐらい。
Fresh newspapers would hit the stands, all in big bold letters. Suspicious man holding plastic bag. But there were still 2 unanswered questions that would keep residents up at night, laying in bed. And they're wondering, 1, who is Saito Sakakibara? And where's the rest of the boy's body?
And who is the boy?
Exactly.
Do they know?
Jesus.
They do know now. Yeah. Shinichiro, I'm gonna call him Shin. His eye twitched, and his hand reaches for his pocket. Even just knowing that the scissors are in his pocket, it's easing a lot of his anxiety. He started carrying weapons around with him since he was in elementary school, but now it's coming in handy. He wrote in his journal, "I can ease my irritation and anxiety when I'm holding a survival knife, or I'm spinning scissors in my hand like a pistol." Being a middle schooler in Kobe is not a great time right now. I mean, he's nervous. Things rarely ever made Sheen nervous. He is the oldest son in the family. He takes it seriously. It is his job to be the tough guy in the family. He thought he did pretty well. He's got these 2 younger brothers, and every time there's a cockroach, every time there's a bug, he would be the one to kill it for his little brothers. But somebody left a severed head on his school gate, impaled on a metal rod. Sheen went to that middle school. In his 3 years of being a student, nothing like this had ever happened before.
Crazy.
And the killer is just pretty much guaranteeing to the world that it's gonna happen again. Like, what was it that they said? It was some unique phrasing. I'm gonna destroy 3 vegetables per week. Sheen's parents reassured him, "Don't worry, Sheen. You're gonna be fine. As long as you don't bike to school anymore, you take the most traveled streets, we're gonna walk you to class, don't talk to any suspicious men in their 30s or 40s, and you're gonna be fine. They're just trying to fearmonger you right now." Sheen would be fine, right? But he's not convinced by any of this because, let's be real, how in the world do you avoid every 30 to 40-year-old strange man? How do you not know if it's the salary man buying rice balls next to you at the convenience store? Like, how do you know if it's not the nice-looking guy walking his small dog at the park? Sheen had taken to switching to the other side of the street whenever he passed someone who even slightly fit the description of the killer. He's not trying to take any chances. And there's like only one thing that would comfort him at night. It was something that his mom had told him years ago, like when he was a kid, elementary school. And every time Sheen would be anxious about going to class or participating in any social activities, his mom would lean down, get in his face, pat his hair, smooth it, put it behind his ear, and say, "Shinichiro, if you're ever nervous, just imagine that everyone around you is a vegetable." Shinichiro didn't have a lot of friends.
Damn. She
to talk to in his
implanted
life.
that
I mean, the
vegetable
ones he did, he
thing.
took really good care of them. He was very sweet with them, very delicate. He was never rough around them. He was washing one of his friend's hair in the shower, and he really liked doing that for people. His grandma used to do that for him. It was soothing in a way. It's relaxing.
Shin is a middle schooler, you said?
Yeah, 14.
14.
Sheen would tell his friends about the newest anime he was watching, or the manga that he was writing himself, and afterwards he would help the friend dry off and comb through the knots in his hair. It's like he ran his own little personal hair spa. Now, all I have to do is comb through all the tangles. You need to brush your hair more. Do you brush your hair at home? Ow, this is so painful. Can you please be gentle? Ow! Shh! It's not that painful. Besides, you look so much better now. More fresh. And I'm almost done. Shinichiro smiles at his friend's soft face. His
That'd
cheeks
be
are so plump, his
crazy.
eyebrows are naturally thin, and his skin is so thin that it's so delicate. It almost has like this translucent quality to it. You can see all the veins. He always had this slight scent of peaches as well. It was always so sweet. He was one of the prettier kids in school. They said that he had the face of an angel. That's what all the teachers said.
Shin or the friend?
The friend. Shin finishes combing up the friend's hair, and he picks his friend's severed head
Yeah, it's
off the bathroom
weird.
counter. And he hums while he gets a chair to lift up one of the ceiling tiles. So in his room, the ceiling tiles, they push up, and he can hide stuff in the ceiling. He gets on the chair, and I'm gonna be back soon. He's about to lower himself back into the bedroom, but he notices something on his friend. He pokes his head back up, grabs the napkin from his pocket, and wipes off some of that thick white liquid from his friend's face.
What is that?
He's a necrophiliac.
Oh.
Oh.
There. What a pretty little vegetable. Shinichiro's safe space was his grandma's vegetable garden. He would just stand in the vegetable garden, staring at the unharvested carrot leaves just poking out of the soil and the tiny little plump tomatoes on the vine. I mean, too bad she was dead. He
Could have a
missed
drop
her.
tile
Yeah, Grandma was his
ceiling.
favorite. Shinichiro walked into the house from the garden, and he found himself in his grandma's house all the time. Like, he went there quite often, just going through her things, reading the little notes that she left behind, sitting on her bed, staring out the window, wondering, what would she be doing if she were still alive? Grandma was all he had. And boom, He falls to the ground, wakes up, there's tears dried on his face, his skin feels tight as if his face was covered in tears that were now dried.
Yeah,
He had fallen to the floor
there's
of
a lot of
Grandma's room and
vegetable.
passed out. He didn't know how long he was out for. He slowly got up, he felt something very off. He felt exhausted, he felt depleted, like every soul, every energy in his body had just exited. And he feels something moist or wet between his legs. He's like, oh my god, did I pee myself? Am I bleeding? He rushes to pull down his pants, and instead, he saw what he describes in the book as a white gelatinous material. He stared at it because this was his first time seeing it. He looked down at the 10-inch long shoulder massager that was pulsating around on the ground. It was as thick as a mini soda can, and it was moving around on the ground like a giant worm, so he was on.
Wait, what's on? A shoulder massager?
It's like one of those wands. It's like those giant wands that are 10 inches, and you can put it and massage your shoulder.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just on the ground, pulsating still. And Shinichiro remembers, oh, that's what happened. He'd walked into his grandma's house to grieve her death again, because that's what he does. But instead, he had his very first intimate experience by himself, whilst thinking about his dead grandma. He remembered that he had stumbled across her favorite electric massage shoulder wand.
That's crazy.
She had bad shoulders, and he used to use it all the time to help her get the back areas that she couldn't reach, and it would ease a lot of the pain and the tension. Just to feel closer to her, he remembers plugging it into the outlet and then using it on his shoulders. But for some reason, he started moving it down his arm, and then down his torso, down his stomach, and then he started feeling this pain in his lower regions, and he didn't know something could be that painful. And then he just wanted to urinate, and he just remembered, wow, how messy would it be if I just urinated on the ground right then and there? But he wouldn't stop. He said he started convulsing with the movements of the shoulder massager.
Oh
the
my
intensity felt like it was
God.
coming from every cell inside of his body. He bent over at the waist. He
I'm
doubled over
about
in
to.
what he
This is
describes
getting
as pain,
too
but
crazy.
also immense pleasure.
Let's go.
He had
Let's
never
go
experienced
forward.
at this level. Along
Let's just keep going. We can get past this. I
Parents scolded
can't.
him
I
frequently because
can't.
he had to hide
I
from them.
can't
If
listen
you want
to
big
that.
facts
I'm
here,
sorry.
Shinichiro had a rather well-adjusted family, considering everything. He lived with his parents and his 2 younger brothers. His parents, according to even Shinichiro himself and all of the corresponding evidence,
Your girl just can't.
were very loving parents. I mean, they were.
I draw the line in
I don't know if
certain
I would say that they're
areas.
spectacular, but I wouldn't say that there's any red flags. There were some
Hello,
questions in
he
the
just
Japanese
fucking
media
killed
about it.
this
Maybe,
kid.
perhaps,
Like, of course
the
it's
parents were a little
sus.
bit too strict compared to others, but Shinichiro said they were actually pretty lenient. And all the evidence points to them being pretty lenient. He had bad grades, he skipped school. They don't give me crazy tiger parents. But growing up, he remembers his dad would let him chew on his palm when his teeth started growing in as a baby. So he'd chew on his dad's palm. Shinichiro said that his mom's smile was one of the best things you could look at. So he would always beg her to watch comedy movies with him. He doesn't even like comedy movies, but he just loved seeing her smile. She would be looking at the TV, he would be looking at her. But he never left the house to hang out with any of his family members. Unless it was to go see grandma. You don't want to come out and eat with us? We're going to eat your favorite thing. Like, we're all going to go to your favorite restaurant. Shinichiro wouldn't even respond. He would only get excited when he was told, hey, we're going to grandma's. Like, why would he need to hang out with kids and go to the movies when he could take baths with his grandma? Okay, it sounds weird now knowing what he did, but the baths were actually very innocent. His grandma would just scrub the dead skin off of him with a rough soapy towel, and he said she scrubbed my face so hard each time that I would close my eyes and hope that it would be over very, very soon. Even if his face was completely red and raw after his bath, Shinichiro would be grinning from ear to ear.
I'm regretting
His
this.
grandma was the one who gave him the strength.
But I'm so
He said
far
one day
into
when
it
they
already.
went to the park, he had this sudden urge to impress his grandma. He just wanted to wow her. So he scans his little head around and
Oh
he
my
spots
God,
the
he's in
tallest
love with
tree
his
in the
grandma.
park. He walks right up to it, and without even feeling an ounce of fear or hesitation, he starts scaling the tree like a little spider monkey. He never once looked down, just climbing higher, 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 until he's at the very top. He sits down on a thick, very shaky branch, and he looks down at the crowd below him. It is massive. Like, it's a park, and he's at the very top.
Yeah.
You can see the bikers, passing through the route, people walking their dogs. The air felt breezier up here, more windy. And he saw his little grandma standing near the base of the tree.
He saw
And
his
her
little
hands were, like,
grandma, she
grabbing at her
said.
cheeks, her forehead, her mouth, and she's self-soothing herself, literally.
He saw
At
his
first,
little
Shinichiro was
grandma.
confused because, why aren't you proud of me? I just climbed the tallest tree in the park. But he made his way down, and she burst into tears. She was so worried he would
His
fall,
little
or that he
grandma.
would die. And he tried to comfort her. Grandma, it's okay. Everything's okay. I'm okay. Shinichiro would hug her, and she would just sob in his arms while he kept apologizing. I'm sorry. I'm never going to do that again. I'll never scare you. That day, it really solidified two things for Shinichiro. One, Grandma is his whole world. Two, he was Grandma's whole world. And three, but to the rest of the world, nobody gave a flying fork about Shinichiro. Like, zero. And that's not to say it
Nobody
harshly.
gave a
It's
flying
just the truth.
fuck.
Like, not everybody is the main character in everybody's story. We're all our own main characters. Shinichiro,
You're the only one in
wasn't
chat.
even
Is
a side
anybody else
character.
here? Like,
He wasn't even a
goddamn.
supporting actor. He was like a nameless extra. If life were a movie, he would be extra student. Shinichiro was the invisible kid in class. They call him ghost students.
We're gonna have
So
to
if he walks into
mod
class,
more people
nobody would
who are
notice.
awake at
Nobody would be
night.
like, oh, Shinichiro's here. Or they wouldn't even glance his way. It's almost like he has no presence. If he skipped school because he was sick, nobody would ask him, hey, why weren't you here yesterday? They wouldn't even notice. He just kind of floated
This was
around and
5.
existed. People would know if he was gone, that they were missing a student because they know
It's
the number
so
of
sad.
students per classroom, but nobody could place who it was.
Yeah,
They'd be
people
really
don't need
thinking
to
that,
dig
like,
in this.
man, I know we're missing a student
They
because it's
can't
normally
see it,
32
so
students, but now
it's
it's
just not
31
quite the
students. But
same.
I, for the life of me, can't figure out who is missing. That was Shinichiro. He was a no-face kid, a ghost player in the classroom. Then the natural assumption would be that if anybody showed Shinichiro attention and admiration, he would like them back. Just like he likes his grandma. I mean, that's what logically makes sense, right? There was a little boy named Jun Hasa.
What's
Shinichiro's
good,
little
Blade?
brother's
How are
friend.
you?
So he's like a few years younger. And Jun would excitedly look up at Shinichiro, asking him questions
Thank
about
God.
turtles. Shinichiro knew a lot about animals, and turtles were Jun's favorite. He would
You're
get so
good,
excited when
good.
Shinichiro would respond to him. His eyes would go wide, and then they would turn into these little half moons every time he smiled. And Jun's eyes were so captivating for Shinichiro. They're like these almond-shaped. The eyelids were so thin, you could almost see the veins. They were almost always crinkled in the outer corners because Jun had a permanent smile. They were just the cutest little eyes.
That's how my son's eyes are.
Shinichiro hated those eyes. Every time he saw those happy little half-moon-shaped eyes, he would want to retreat into his sanctuary. He would go deep into his mind, and he would try to isolate himself in his sanctuary, a place where nobody else could enter, where he could cut off the rest of the world. In the real world, he was a slug. He said, I'm a slug. I have no shell to protect myself, and therefore I cannot be a snail. So I have to build a shell inside of my body to protect myself. As soon as I'm aware of danger, I hide in my shell. Jun's eyes were dangerous. So he retreated into his shell, his safe space. But something about that day on that playground, he just couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. He had looked into Jun's eyes, and he felt this overwhelming urge to destroy Jun. Jun is holding
Sweet
Shinichiro's
Jesus.
hand, and they're going to the climbing
God
rings
damn it,
together.
Blade.
It doesn't make sense. Like, why does he hate him so much?
Oh, he'll tell us soon enough. He just hates him, though. Despises
You
him.
always do this.
Shinichiro didn't know why he did it, but he wanted to look into his eyes while he screamed. So
I know
Shinichiro
who it
threw
is
Jun
every
down on the
time
playground
you
ground
do that. There's only
and just
one
started
person that
beating him
says
up.
that shit, and that's
In the
you.
end, Jun's lip was split open. He had a giant lump on his forehead. Shinichiro was pulled off of him, but all he could see in front of him were still Jun's little eyes, just like taunting him. The same eyes that now have tears streaming out of them because Jun is crying. Shinichiro kept staring at those eyes. He could see his mom in his peripheral vision rush into the office room, bowing at a 90-degree angle at the teachers. We're so sorry. We will make sure to apologize to Jun and his parents directly. This will never happen again. Isn't that right, Shinichiro? This will never happen again. Shinichiro didn't respond. He just kept staring at those stupid little eyes. And in the background, these little bits and pieces
Fuck
of whispers coming through.
you.
The teacher pulling his mother to the side. Shinichiro's mom trying to explain away another one of his incidents. He was put in a different class from his close friends when he entered the
You're
6th grade.
just...
He changed middle school, so
You're
of course maybe
crazy.
he feels incredibly lonely and isolated, and perhaps it manifested in him taking it out
Delete
on
that.
June. Regardless, there is no excuse, and we will handle it.
He
at
said,
home.
I'm not for it, though. It's
It felt like she was always
crazy.
cleaning up after him. But this time the teacher's not having it. She lowers her voice. Ma'am, this isn't
Not
normal
good, you
behavior.
dickhead. You
There's
banned
no
most of
reason
my
for something like this at all.
accounts.
He admitted to one of
I
the
do
other teachers
not.
that
Okay,
he
I let
was
you go
committed sex.
wild.
It
Okay,
just
I don't do
we're
it. My
concerned
mods
this
be blocking
could
you,
easily
not
lead to something
me.
more.
I don't be doing that shit.
It was okay though, because Shinichiro would take care of it. This time, he would not need his
It's
mom to clean up after
fine.
him.
Just
Shinichiro
suffer
goes up
with
to the loose
me.
tile in his bedroom ceiling, pops it open, slides it to the side. He balances on his
It
chair and he
is.
reaches
It's,
both hands
I
up
don't
and
know.
carefully lifts
Probably
the black
not. I
plastic
don't
bag
know.
out. It's shaped like a soccer ball. He pulls it down and starts unwrapping it at his desk. So much better. So much prettier without those eyes.
I
Got
know
you
who
on the
you
eyeballs?
are.
They say the eyes are the window to the soul. Shinichiro is sick of looking at
What the
June's
fuck is
pure
that?
soul. Shinichiro placed June's severed
Who the
head down on his
Oh,
desk,
Jordan? No,
gouged
it's
out
not
his eyes. He
Jordan.
had X's cut into the eyelids as well after he took out the eyeballs.
It's not Jordan.
Shinichiro brings June's head closer to him, almost cradling it now. And before June's head could talk to him, because Shinichiro said he kept talking to him,
Yeah, I can't remember your name. That's
Okay.
sad.
complaining, Shinichiro would push his fingers to his lips.
You called it.
I would appreciate it if you could keep the
I really
police away from me for as
can't.
long as you can.
It's a
Because
problem.
this is
I'm
about to
trying
be
to
the
remember.
big
I can
debut.
remember, but I don't remember.
It's the witching hour, midnight. It's the only
I
acceptable
can
time
see
to ride a
it,
bike
but
around
I
Kobe
can't.
City. Everybody's retreated around their homes. I mean, the streets are dimly
Yeah, he's
lit by the
crazy.
moon. Everything feels quiet. The bike ride always starts off cold because the wind is blowing, but once you pick up your pace, your heartbeat starts
Turtle
racing, you
duck.
get into a rhythm of pedaling,
It's
your
turtle
body
duck.
temperature rises, and then the air feels just right. Shinichiro is speeding down the street on his bike so fast that he almost felt like he's flying, levitating. He looked around, there's nobody on the street. It's almost like a zombie apocalypse hit, and he's completely alone in this world, which honestly would be perfect. It was euphoric, it was blissful. He did something so uncharacteristic of him, and maybe it was because he was in such a good mood, but he started singing at the top of his lungs. Stand by me. The song? When the night has come, and the land is dark, and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid, just as long as you
I
stand by me.
guess.
It's a one-man show, a performance. That night was a tiny bit foggy, and it made Shinichiro a little bit nervous, because what if it starts raining? That would really put a damper on things. He had very precious cargo with him that cannot get wet. The cargo in question was wrapped in a black plastic bag and had it placed in the basket in front of his bike. Every time he had the smallest of bumps on the road, he would glance down to make sure that the bag remained undisturbed. In the midst of singing the chorus to Stand By Me at the top of his lungs, he arrives at his destination. He looks down at the bike basket and says, "No one has ever paid any attention to the ugly, insignificant scum that I was, but this very creature that I am is about to turn the world upside down."
Ooh,
He
there we
parks his
go.
bike and pulls June's severed head out of the black plastic bag from the bike basket. Originally, he had
There's
planned to bury
3
June's
people
head
here.
somewhere. That seemed like the right answer. But it just wasn't him.
Oh
you
my
know?
god.
That wasn't Seito Sakakibara. He needed something more impactful, something striking. But now, seeing the sight of June's head impaled by the metal school gates, I mean, he knew deep inside this is what he had intended. This is what he needed to do. He had tried multiple different locations, though. You know, the metal spike closest to the school sign, straight in the middle, the one on the other side. Each time, he would leave blood on the metal spikes, and after much deliberation, he decided to place June's head straight smack dab in the middle of the fence.
Wait, so he placed the head at a couple of locations?
And just left blood and brain matter on the metal spikes. Because he would impale the head onto the metal spikes. You know how the fences come up into a
Yeah.
spike? So he tried multiple different spikes to
So
see
he keep putting
Yeah.
on
What the
and off,
fuck?
on and off, and on and off.
on and off and on and off to see which one, I guess,
Which
looks the
spike?
best. Yeah.
Wow.
He decides right in the middle would be best.
Yeah, you just
He then
realized
reaches
that?
into his pocket, grabs the note out, puts it on June's tongue, in his mouth, and takes a few steps back, and he just soaks in this sight. In that moment, it felt like the world was silent. The ground, the head, the gate, the fence, the school building behind the gate, the moonlight illuminating June's soul, his mind. I mean, it was beautiful. No, beautiful is too weak of a word. It was more enchanting. Well, that's closer to what he's looking for, but it's not exactly the word that he wants. Shinichiro said in that moment, all the elements fell into harmony without any sense of incompatibility, as if they had been in that place since long ago. It was like a painting, a scene in a movie.
Yeah, we know what you were
Shinichiro
paying
stood
attention
there,
to.
reaching his destination multiple times without any physical stimulation.
Reaching his
No
destination.
And the word that he was thinking about was absolutely orgasmic. June's family would receive their first letter from their child's killer. This would start a very long, very painful journey where every year they would wait until the letter came in the mail. The killer would tell them in great depth and gory detail about their son's murder. He would take them on a journey. And painful as it was, I mean, they felt like they have to read it. How do you not read it? Reading it for any little clue of why he would do this to their precious son, but he just never gave them answers that they were seeking. Or at least he never gave it for free. He would have to make them wait for it. He would have to make them earn it. He told them it started with Sasuke.
Nah, I'm not going through all that.
Sasuke was an old dog. And you know what happens when dogs are old? They don't like to eat like they used to. So Sasuke was not eating like he used to. And Sasuke was dead.
Whoops.
Sasuke was in Shinichiro and his mom's care. Shinichiro's mom hated that Sasuke was not eating, and so he would always leave half of his kibble empty, like just on his bowl. He would never finish it, and she would mutter to herself, "What a waste, Sasuke, you can't do that." She would bring the half-full dog bowl into the kitchen, and it's not like she could put the dog food back into the container. It would be a risk for contaminating all the fresh food, but also throwing it away doesn't feel economical either, so she would put it onto a paper plate and put it outside for the stray cats. It became such a habit that even after Sasuke's passing, they still had a giant container of fresh dog food left over, and Shinichiro's mom would portion it out, leave it outside for the stray cats. It was kind of cute, right? Sweet. Shinichiro thought, that is absolutely revolting. Sasuke might be dead, but his food is sacred. It belongs to Sasuke and Sasuke alone. Just because he's no longer here doesn't mean his food is suddenly public property of the stray cats. Besides, what did the stray cats ever do for him? Nothing. They didn't sit by his side and keep him company during his final days. They didn't offer him companionship or comfort. They just lurked around the corner, waiting for their chance to consume all of his food, waiting for him to die so that they could feast over his kibble like it was their birthright. It was enough to make Shinichiro's blood boil. So he killed it. He killed a cat.
Wow.
He was 9, and the cat was asking for it. Yeah. The stray cat had its face buried into the plate outside, filled with Sasuke's food, and Shinichiro was in motion. In that moment, there was no room for hesitation or second guessing. Do you know that feeling of when you look through a telescope? Everything else is black, and you only see the one thing at the other end.
So he kills cats too. Crazy.
It was like that for Shinichiro. It's just him and the cat and nothing else, and he was going to kill the cat. That's the anger he felt.
Why do you think it's always the cats? Like, what is driving them to...
I heard that cats fight back a lot more than dogs.
And that is perfect for them.
Yes, and I heard tell me how I got on this, because I was also curious why we hear a lot more of cat abuse versus dog abuse from killers. Cats, from what I can tell, and this is not like a scientific or a statistic, but I heard they have a very specific scream when they die. Whereas dogs sound like dogs, I heard that cats have a more reminiscent of humans or children when they yelp. It's like the higher pitched tone, versus dogs are more like the whimpers.
I mean, yeah, true.
In a fluid, swift motion, Shinichiro drops his school bag on the ground. He walks over to the half-broken concrete brick that's just laying on the ground. It's still about 20 pounds of concrete. He picks it up. Instinctively, he starts crouching and slowly walking towards the little cat near the food bowl. He holds his breath, and he swings the concrete brick up with both hands, throws it as hard as he can at the cat, and he misses. But not entirely. The cat is injured on its left side, but it's trying to limp away. Not that it was ever a fair fight, but now Shinichiro is slowly walking up to the cat, who's face planted into a ditch in the little garden, and the cat is bleeding profusely, but it still has the fight to stand up. Yeah, it rounds its back and it starts hissing at Shinichiro. Or maybe it's one last plea, I don't know. It was an American short-haired tabby with silver
God
fur
damn it,
and
she
thin
even
black
showed a
stripes
picture
running
of
up
the
and down its little
cat.
starved body. It had these beautiful
This
emerald
bitch.
eyes staring straight
Fucking
into Shinichiro's soul.
this is too much.
And he just thought to himself, what a beautiful cat. Shinichiro reached out towards the cat again, and as soon as he was within range, the cat shot out its paw and scratched Shinichiro's hand. It left these dark red claw marks on the back of his right hand, and blood started seeping out of it, and Shinichiro is just looking at his wound. He doesn't even react. He just looks, gets up, makes a sharp turn, and goes into his house. He runs upstairs to his bedroom and grabs something off his desk. A box cutter.
Oh
Shinichiro
my
makes his way back to
God.
the wounded cat. He gets on his knees
I don't
right on
know. I don't like it
the cat's face and stabs him in the
anymore.
eye.
This is just
He said it was
depressing.
like a water balloon.
Oh my fucking God. Stop. Okay. Let's just get past that. Okay, I had to pause. I'm sorry, guys. I just needed a
Shinichiro said that he
second.
heard something from the cat that sounded almost human, like a
Oh
child's
my
scream that played
God.
sounded
What
like
is
that.
happening
Shinichiro had
right
sliced the cat's
now?
pretty emerald eyes, and he threw the box cutter to the side. He takes both hands and starts strangling the cat. He stayed
Oh my God.
and it was getting
I
slower and slower,
can't
and he never made eye
stop
contact.
it.
Then he takes one hand off the neck and
Okay,
uses
I'm trying.
the other
We
hand to
got
start
this.
searching the
There we
ground
go.
for something.
I
He's
don't
looking
want
for
to hear this
something,
anymore.
anything,
I don't think
to
we
make
can
this
do
a little
this
bit more fun.
anymore.
His fingers touch a branch on the ground. He picks it up and he shoves it into the cat's throat.
Fucking
grabs the box cutter again
hell.
and stabs the cat and starts twisting.
Oh my God.
Shinichiro
It's worse
stood
when it's
over
animals.
the tiny
It's worse.
animal that he had
I
destroyed
can handle
so
when it's
beautifully.
people. I can
Is how he
hear
describes it.
all
And
this shit
instead of
about
seeing
true
himself as
crime.
pathetic
We listen
for
about
harming something
meat,
that doesn't even have the power to fight
meat,
back, Shinichiro felt
body
threatened in
meat,
his ears,
in
in his
bags,
head,
and being tossed
and
in
in between
trash.
his legs.
Like, but I can handle that, but
He
I
grabs
can't
the
handle
concrete
this.
brick,
This
places it on
cat
his
shit
little
is
head,
insane.
and starts stomping.
Stop.
He said he heard a lot of cracking, and then
I can't do
it
it.
helps me sleep at night, but I also don't have anxiety when I'm leaving my house anymore.
Oh yeah.
Because I know that it's well protected.
I really
I
love
recommend
that.
Simply Safe to all my when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/rotten. That's simplysafe.com/rotten. They're slow and painful, and sometimes it takes upwards of several minutes, sometimes even an hour, depending on the amount of salt. Shinichiro thought it was very interesting. It was probably second in terms of excitement. Putting slugs under a hot lamp was his first. Did you know that slugs cannot regulate their own body temperatures? I didn't know, but Shinichiro knew, and that's what made them so fun to play with. He would experiment by putting them under a very, very hot lamp and let them sit there. He would sit eye level, just watching them squirm, and as the heat increases, the slug's mucus starts drying out, making it difficult for the slug to move. It causes its skin to start drying and cracking, and just like the salt, the slug will try to create more mucus, and it's only going to dehydrate and kill them in the end. Their internal organs start shutting down one by one due to dehydration, and eventually the slug is going to perish from dehydration and
This
heat
has
stress,
turned dark.
and it's going to be a
It
slow,
has.
painful death. But it's not enough. He would move on to frogs.
That's why
Honestly,
we're
it happened by
here.
chance.
I
While catching
can't.
slugs, he caught a
Okay,
frog and decided
guys.
he liked the way that the
Guys, I don't know about this anymore. We're gonna find something else to watch. I just can't do it anymore. Like I have to draw the line somewhere. And like cats getting shit shoved down its throat and its head stomped on is kind of my it's kind of my my line. That's where the line is drawn. What's up? Leaky cheeks, Dylan. I can't do it. That was just depressing. That was terrible. That was too much. Way too much. I love her. She's too good at this. She's too good at this. Let's find a different video. Saying that is, yeah, it got crazy. I thought it was just gonna be this interesting. I don't know. I thought it was gonna be interesting. I do regret watching that. I can't unhear what I just heard. Holy shit. I don't know if I can do that. I'm scared now. I didn't expect that. Where are you looking to find these? It's just Rotten Mango on YouTube. It's just a YouTube channel. Oh my god. Just rotten, like rotten, and then mango, like the fruit. Two different, like, there's a space in between, obviously. You want to listen to that shit? You don't want to hear that shit. That did not happen in Ohio. That happened in a whole different country. Oh, she covered Diddy's shit, too. There's one where, like, 6 family members got possessed. It's, like, the true case behind Incantation. Which is a horror movie. What's up, Pete? But it's, like, a family of 6 was possessed. And, yeah. I believe it. Yeah. But it's just the way that it was described was just too much. I could not. I was trying to get through it. I was gonna fast forward through it. There's not one about the Conjuring house. I went through every video.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Ever since Ronan, a mom in Taiwan,
Oh my
she's
god, my
invited
body
her daughter
hurts.
back to come live with her. Ever since the two have been reunited, very strange
It's
things
family
have
of
been
6
happening.
possessed by
6 years
demons
ago,
till one
something
is
happened
dead.
where the mom, Ronan, could no longer take care
It
of her
did.
daughter
It just got
anymore.
more
Her
dark.
daughter's name is
It
Dodo,
was bad.
and she could hardly take care of herself, let alone make
No,
sure
when
that
it fast
Dodo is
forward on
being
like 2
safe
times
and
the
well
speed,
fed.
I didn't
But
mean to
that's
do
6 years
that, and I
ago.
couldn't get it to
Ronan
stop.
today, she's different now. She's ready to be a mom again.
Okay.
She can take care of her daughter Dodo. After 6 years of being apart, obviously the initial meeting is definitely a little awkward, but there is this connection there because that's her kid. So for a little while, it seems like the two of them, they're gonna go home, they're gonna slip into a very natural, familiar family life where they just enjoy doing all these mundane things that they missed out on together. But then, all these strange little things start happening, and they're not little. On the very first night that daughter Dodo returns home, they hear this huge bang in the other room, and there's this sound of shattering glass. Ronan runs into the next room to investigate because it sounds like a home intruder or something. But when she gets in there, all she finds, the floor covered with shattered glass, and there's a tiny little cockroach. It seems like the cockroach crashed in through the window, breaking the glass. Is that even physically possible? It's so strange. Later that night, Ronan notices what looks like a burst eye vessel inside of her daughter's eye, but it's very eerily shaped, like the shape of a cockroach.
How old is the daughter?
6. And I think if that were all, maybe Ronan would try to look past it and start fresh because, there could be explanations for all of these things. Maybe the glass was already shattered. Maybe the cockroach is just a coincidence. There can be 1,001 explanations. But things start becoming
man with
unavoidable.
a sense of
It's not even
humor.
just the small things anymore. Like, how do you explain when Dodo wakes up one day and her entire mouth is filled with teeth? She has double the amount of teeth. They're practically growing on her tongue. They're everywhere. Or the fact that Dodo, her daughter, is able to magically shut doors. She could be on the other side of the room and the door swings shut. The window's not even open. It's not a breeze. How is she doing that? And who does she keep talking to? She keeps talking to someone that doesn't exist. Like she's playing with invisible friends that aren't actually there. Yes, it's her daughter, but it's not normal. And she's confident that the real problem here, is that Ronan is cursed. She's haunted, and this curse is being transferred to her daughter. 6 years ago, Ronan, for the sake of a YouTube video, entered this forbidden tunnel, a sacred space, and ever since then, her life has been cursed, and now her daughter is gonna die unless she can find a way to help her. And this sounds very much like the plot of a movie, does it not? And that's because it is. That is the plot of the Taiwanese horror film Incantation. The reviews for that movie read, it's terrifying, exceptionally dark. If you can't watch anything terrible happening to young children, don't watch this. It's a type of movie to break your brain. I watched it, and the movie stayed with me for years. I still think about it to this day. Not in a good way. But the truth is, the movie Incantation is actually based on a true
Yeah, he was only 6
of a
years
family
old.
in Taiwan and what happened to them when they get cursed by a demon. How they are tortured for 2 months straight until one of them ends up dead. We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the PAN Foundation. They focus on accessibility to healthcare, aiding underinsured people with their out-of-pocket costs, as well as actively advocating for improved access and affordability. This episode's partnerships have also made it possible to support Rotten Mango's growing team, and we'd also like to thank you guys for your continued support as we work on our mission to be worthy advocates. As always, full show notes are available at RottenMangoPodcast.com. This is another international case with very little resources available. We did our best to translate with professional native speakers, but of course, if there's anything mistranslated, miscommunicated, or any additional information, please let us know down in the comments.
Yeah.
Today's case also mentions some mental health conditions, the compulsive eating of non-food items, physical assault, and a brief mention of SA. So with that being said, I do actually have another disclaimer. Listen, I have a very strong appreciation for religion and cultural traditions. I think it's one of the more beautiful aspects of life and just the human experience in general, but I'm personally not a firm believer of anything when it pertains to religion or spiritual journeys. So anything said in this episode is not to push some sort of narrative or belief onto anybody. I truly have no skin in the game. I just am very intrigued by a lot of different cultures and religions. There is information included that I find to be enlightening and pertinent to the case itself, and also just fascinating that I wanted to share with you, but I am not trying to get anyone to believe one thing or another or anything at all. Also, another side note, many of the gods mentioned in today's episodes, the deities, they have very complicated backgrounds on how they came to be, and obviously there's different interpretations and beliefs.
Yeah, I know.
But I do want to mention that it does seem that at least a few of them are based off
That
of
was
Hindu
terrible.
gods. So this is, again, not me trying to
I
erase that
didn't
link or not give
expect
credit where
that.
credit is due, but I think
She always gives a disclaimer at the
God
beginning.
would take a lot of care and
Like,
expertise.
if you can't
and I'm mainly
handle
trying to
it,
include the parts that would
she
be relevant
literally
to the episodes.
said.
So if you guys actually know more about each deity, please let me know in the comments. I would love to learn
She
more
literally
from
said,
you guys, because the internet
take
is
some
such a place
time,
where
go make
everybody
your
disagrees a
favorite
lot.
meal,
So
and
with
watch
that being
your
said,
favorite
let's get into
comfort
it.
movie.
April 11th, 2005. It's a very normal
Me
Monday
right
afternoon,
now.
and Mr. A, let's call
Rocking
him
back
Mr.
and
A,
forth, same
is at
shit.
home watching TV, and he hears this knock at his door. Mr. A is one of the few neighbors that are still around. All the other neighbors had, interestingly, packed a little bag and moved out into hotels, leaving most of their stuff behind, still paying rent. It's very odd. Mr. A gets up and he walks to the door, looks through the tiny little peephole, and he sees his neighbor, a middle-aged man, Mr. Wu, just standing there looking very anxious.
Yeah, same.
Mr. Wu, what's wrong?
Nothing
How
could
can I
ever
help
be
you?
that bad.
Mr. Wu leans in closer to the door. Call an ambulance. What? Mr. A fumbles with his locks, and by the time he
My
opens the
back
door,
hurts so
Mr. Wu is
bad.
gone.
Oh my
He looks to the
god.
right, he looks to the left. No Mr. Wu. He didn't even know middle-aged men could move that fast. That's wild. So he grabs his phone, puts on his jacket and his shoes, and he starts making
I
his
put
way
on my
over to
jacket
Mr.
too.
Wu's
I was
house,
cold.
which is at the top of a neighboring building. It's a 3-story building, and Mr. Wu is at the top. That's his residence, 3rd floor.
It
So
could
he's
be.
running up
It
the
could
stairs.
be.
He
It
approaches
could
the
be
door.
so
He
much
doesn't
worse.
see Mr. Wu
He could
anywhere.
have
He's
fucked the
nowhere to
cat.
be seen. He presses on
He
the
could
handle
have
of Mr.
fucked
Wu's
the
front
dead
door.
cat.
The door creaks open, and a fly comes flying out at him.
He probably
So
did.
strange.
Let's be
He walks
honest.
inside, and once he sees why an ambulance needs to
Oh
be
my
called,
god.
Mr. A runs back out of the house. He's dry heaving on the pavement and immediately calls the police.
I'm glad
When
I
the police
ended it
arrive
when
at
I
the scene,
did.
they want to know what
That
the
was
problem is with the
terrible.
Wu family.
I can't stop.
Arguably, they seem very incredibly normal, if not very mundane. The Wu parents have 4
The
children.
Wu parents.
The eldest daughter works in Taipei. The second daughter is a nurse.
It's-
The third daughter goes to college. The son, the baby of the family, works at a local printing house. They're all adults. The kids are in their 20s at this point. It's a very normal family. Until the police talk to the neighbors. They are not normal. What do you mean by that? Neighbors have been reporting hearing very strange noises coming from inside the house all night long. This loud, sometimes it's like a banging noise. Sometimes you don't know what the source of the sound is. Sometimes you do know. And then sometimes it's just the most obnoxious gong going off all night long.
And Dodo
Which is
gone.
definitely frustrating for neighbors to deal with, the constant ruckus from the upstairs residents. But the neighbors aren't even annoyed. They're not even pissed off. In fact, they're just scared. Something about the noises is different, okay? Sometimes the family of 6 would sit there just splashing water on each other in silence, splashing cold water all over each other, shivering, but they say they're hot. It's weird. Sometimes the neighbors would wake up in the middle of the night to hearing someone screaming, other times to chanting. They look up at the house and, yeah, the police are like, that's not a normal place. They look at the signs posted on the windows into the house. There's a red 8 trigram symbol posted onto the window. The 8 trigrams are ancient symbols used in Taoist philosophy that represent the 8 principles of feng shui. Feng shui being harmony of individuals and their environment. At its core, feng shui is about creating balance and flow in your living area, right? So the 8 principles of having good feng shui balance, oversimplified, are heaven, earth, thunder, water, mountain, wind, fire, lake, which symbolizes joy and pleasure. So they all mean something. And when you put that symbol of the 8 trigrams on the window, it typically means that whoever lives in this home is seeking protection. They likely want to ward off negative energy and spirits, which is not too crazy of a thing to want. I feel like we all want that. They see that red 8 trigrams taped to the window, which itself is very normal, standard even, but it's everything else that makes the house feel so strange. On the balcony of the house, there are these black clothes that are sticking out of the windows like flags. It does not appear that the clothes are being hanging to dry. They're hanging on sticks, just floating in the air like flags. Or like
I wish I
ghosts
knew who
wearing
you
black
were. I
clothes
don't
and
know who
hanging
you
out
are.
of the
Is
window,
that
whichever one
Jordan?
you want to envision. When you step foot into the house, you hear this crunching noise, and you look down, and the entire floor is covered like a beach. But instead of sand, it's covered with salt and rice
I thought you
grains.
were.
The whole floor. They can hear
What's
flies
good, Jordan?
buzzing
How are
around the
you? You
house.
just missed
They
me,
walk further
like,
in, and on the
crazy
dining
cringing
table, they
over
find
a true
whole
crime story.
table setting
This
laid
dude
out.
was, like, stomping
Plates,
a
bowls.
cat's
Bowls
head
are
and
filled
shit.
with fulu, a
It's
talismanic
like, yeah, I
paper
can't
soaked
do
in
it.
water. And the
I can always
plates
tell
are
when it's
smeared with the
Jordan. I
main
swear
dish,
to
the main
God.
course. Feces. Poop.
Oh dear God.
The flies are
I'm
just
so
circulating
scared.
over the table.
I feel
That's not
like
the only
something
source of the
bad
smell.
is gonna happen.
Feces has been thrown at the walls, covering
Sweet
the walls,
Jesus.
sliding off the walls.
This
Not a
isn't
single
true
window
crime.
was
Well,
left
it kind
open
of
to
is
let
true
in some
crime
fresh air.
because, like,
Not only that,
6
but the
people
windows
were
are covered
killed.
in these yellowish papers taped to the windows, resulting in this severe lack of sunlight coming in, which means feces are hanging off the walls. The air is thick from the smell. Not a single hint of a breeze, just still air sitting,
I don't know if I can
marinating
do
in the
this.
poop stench. and no sunlight to try and balance things out. It's dark, dingy, grimy, and the smell of feces is overwhelming. In one of the bedrooms, there's a 28-year-old woman lying motionless on the floor.
Oh,
Her limbs are
fucking
stiff
hell.
and she does not appear to be breathing. She has no pulse. They rush her to the hospital, but it is no luck. She has been dead for 2 days before the police found her body. The hospital starts an autopsy on the woman, and her whole body looks incredibly pale. There's these massive wounds all over her body, giant bruises, fist-sized, up and down her body. But more puzzling than that are these tiny circular uniform burn marks, similar to cigarette butt burns.
Dear
But
God.
not really. It's much smaller. It's about the size of like an ink dot. So if you were to take the tip of a Sharpie and just hold it onto your skin, it's kind of that size.
He's still a
What
mod,
could even
so that would mean
cause
he
burns
changed his
that size
name.
that are that consistent and uniform all over her body? Believe it or not, there's
Oh my
another
God,
medical issue that the
guys.
doctors cannot even wrap their minds around. Shoved into the woman's
the
nostrils,
12th time.
mouth, in her esophagus, and
You're lucky
smeared all
YouTube
over
lets
her
you do
skin
that.
is a mixture of urine and feces. Furthermore, her entire stomach, the only thing in there is no food. Nothing but just semi-digested feces. The sheer volume of feces would indicate it was most likely human feces. So why, how, I mean, who did this to her? The police are able to confirm that the deceased woman is the eldest daughter of the Wu family, the residence that she was found in, which means the people most likely to have answers to what happened to her are her family members. But there is no trace of the rest of the Wu family. After Mr. Wu knocked on his neighbor's door, he vanished along with his wife and his 2 daughters and his 1 son.
Oh my God.
All 5 of them are gone. They hadn't taken any belongings, nothing. They just disappeared into thin air from this house.
Is it bad that I
And
kind
there
of
are
want to
just
go
some
back?
places that you just do not go. In the movie
It
Incantation,
was at least
the
more
place that you're not
interesting.
supposed-
Let's go back. Can't believe I'm doing that. Yes, no. Hold on, guys. I don't want to hear that part. I just want to hear the rest of it. I want to hear how it ends. I was invested. I don't want to hear about that. That part's gotta go. Killing frogs and shit. It's gotta go. But at least it was interesting. Let's find it. There's a mom that microwaved her baby. Some fat ass eat my frog. What the fuck? A mom microwaved her 2-month-old baby for 5 minutes while having a seizure. Can you fucking imagine? Can you imagine? Oh my God. That is crazy. How do you do that? Because, like, I've been around people who have seizures and they don't really have control over their body like that. So how do you put your kid in the microwave? And I don't know. I just can't. It wasn't even to the second half yet. It wasn't even that way. It wasn't even close to being done. We were just super far into it, and I was dedicated. Where Walt gets lung cancer. We were technically still in the first half. I was trying to get through it. Here we go.
Like the way that the frog fought and struggled back. He would pin them by their long legs and dissect them while they were alive, and he realized something interesting. In those moments, frogs' insides are very similar to humans, more so than slugs. When he wasn't feeling so medically and scientifically inclined, he would catch as many frogs as possible. He would line them up in a row on the pavement, pin them to the ground so that they can't move or escape. He would get on his bike, and he would stare at the row of brightly green colored frogs, and he would ring his little bike bell for good measure.
Yeah, me too.
Then he graduated to pigeons.
Oh
and
my
then he graduated
god.
to cats. Shinichiro would say, but when I advanced to middle school, I'd already become bored of killing cats and gradually found myself fantasizing about how it would feel to murder human beings like myself. You know, decapitating pigeons and cats.
The cats are
all it takes is
worse.
a single knife. I want something bigger. He said, I wanted to conduct the sacred experiment to test the
It
fragility
is true crime.
of human beings.
I did this. I'm glad I did
Shinichiro
this.
is sitting in his bed. He's tucked under his blanket, almost
True
entirely
crime for
covered
like
by
48
these
hours.
giant mountains.
This is still true crime. It's a
He
true
calls
crime
it his
podcast.
fortress.
It's different.
Shinichiro didn't get the
She's
best grades in
literally
school, but that doesn't
giving
make
you
him
like a
sound
whole
studious,
true crime
okay?
story.
He just likes to study different things. He would look at his stuffed animals. Play close attention now, everybody. The stuffed animals would be lined up. Dogs, ducks, crocodiles. They were his little classmates, and he was giving a presentation, a lesson. Serial killers. Shinichiro spent every waking moment he had reading and studying the world's most twisted serial killers. In a way, every single serial killer has their strengths and weaknesses. Shinichiro basically had these spreadsheets where it would detail each serial killer's upbringing, trauma, motives, MOs, disposal methods, captures, trial, and none of them were perfect. Clearly, right? They were all either caught dead or they stopped killing for whatever reason.
You don't even
But
know,
logically speaking,
dude.
wouldn't it make the most sense if he were to take all the smartest, most twisted parts of each killer and make a brand new serial killer? Not only would they be the most notorious serial killer ever known, but they would also be invincible, almost impossible to catch. Shinichiro was gonna Frankenstein the perfect serial killer, inspired by his 3 favorites. The Zodiac Killer was one of the better ones on his list.
Of course, the Zodiac Killer. You want to run the cat part back for Jordan? That's crazy. No, he can just rewind. Thanks, MGAP. Gonna run the cat part back. It's crazy. I can't. It was so brutal. She described the color of its eyes and she put a picture on the screen. And then she's like explaining. I'll just explain what I had to go through. Okay. I am traumatized. Sitting there talking about the cat's beautiful emerald eyes. And how when he was stomping on its head, he heard cracking. And how he choked the cat and like just fucking shoved shit in its throat. And like, I can't either. That was too much for me. I went to like go like fast forward through it. And then it fast forward. It did too much. It did too much. I'm gonna watch Alex O'Connor now. Fuck you, Jordan. I needed a mod. I thought it was good for you to be in here. Fuck, I just dropped my... I am into philosophy, but yeah. Fuck, I was gonna go to the bathroom, guys. I gotta go pee. Will you guys stay here? Because you guys are, like, making this fun for me. Like, I would be so bored without you guys here. Ohio Crazy's been here from the fucking start of this live. Everyone finna leave now. I hate you. There's 2 people here, Jordan. There says there's 2 motherfucking people. There's 2 people here. 2. What do you think that's gonna do? That's you 2. That is you 2. I am talking to you 2. For me, it says 120. Don't you fucking lie. Don't you fucking lie. Don't you fucking lie. Now it says 3. And you're sitting here saying it says there's 120 people watching me. You're such a liar. You have. And you gotta keep going with me. You are just lying. I know. I know you are. Now it says there's 1 person here. I fucking hate you both. I gotta go to the bathroom. He left just for the fucking shits and giggles, didn't he? I don't know. Oh, you are still here. Okay. It says there's 1, but I guess that you both still here, so. Of course, Turtle Duck came in here on his bullshit. Ohio thought it was Jordan. It was funny, but then Jordan pops in. I've suffered visually. I have seen things I have not wanted to see. I feel like my eyes look really glossy. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm gonna go pee. I'll be like 2 minutes. I won't even be that long. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. I'm like begging you guys to stay. I'm like, stay. It's impossible, honestly. Who knows? Maybe it is Jordan. Because he always brings up my ex. So maybe. You know what? Maybe it is. Because they're friends. So maybe. I'm stepping on shit I don't want to step on. Because I dropped my lighter. Fucking goddamn. It's hard. I gotta go pee. down in my jacket. Okay, your girl is back. Did you say you deleted all your shit? For real, Jordan?
List. Or so he thought, because he was never caught, right? He terrorized an entire
I got
town,
you.
the nation of America, really, and he would send letters to local newspapers
I'm
taunting
scared.
them with cryptic ciphers that he had claimed had hidden his identity. If they could just crack the code, you'll know who I am. He would taunt the police, laugh at them for not being able to catch him. That was the inspiration behind Shinichiro's Seito Sakakibara name and the windmill symbol under his letter.
So it was inspired by...
The Zodiac Killer.
Wow.
So the best parts of the Zodiac Killer, done. Noted. He even had the little windmill symbol that was reminiscent of the Zodiac sign, but also combined a swastika, so there's that. Yeah. Ed Kemper had a thing for severed heads. He would often decapitate his victims and perform necrophilic acts on their severed heads. And perhaps not too unsimilar to Shinichiro, Ed Kemper had a very strange relationship with his mother. He decapitated his own mother and engaged in necrophilia acts with her head. He also removed her voice box
His
and put it
tweets were
into the garbage
crazy.
disposal in the sink. Remember that?
Yeah.
It did not grind, it just shot back up because it was so tough in texture, but he claimed he did it because his mom was always complaining about him. Ed Kemper decapitated heads. He had an interesting relationship with his maternal figures, you know? Written down on his little to-dos. Letter, severed heads. But there was one last favorite of his, though. Andre Chikatilo. Do you remember him? The Red Ripper? He would often mutilate his victims' bodies and engage in various acts of necrophilia and cannibalism. In some cases, he reportedly drank the blood of his victims because he believed that consuming his victims' blood, he would absorb their life force or their essence. Now that was interesting. Shinichiro stood over Jun's limp body.
And he got banned.
And he
That's
said,
crazy.
"My blood is dirty, so I thought drinking a pure child's blood would cleanse the dirty blood."
Oh my god.
Shinichiro brings the blood up to his mouth, takes a big gulp. It tastes like licking metal. That's how he describes it. Shinichiro turns to leave, but he hears Jun's voice. "How dare you kill me? This was so painful." He turns around. "Well, it's your fault for being at the wrong place at the wrong time." Jun's head kept complaining and complaining, an attempt to accommodate him. Shinichiro thought, okay, that your soul is still trapped in...
Oh fuck.
this.
I've
He
muted
takes out
it.
his knife and gouges out his eyeballs. He thought the eyeballs are the windows to the soul, so if they're taken out, then your soul is gone. Then he makes these long cuts from the mouth to his ears, like the Joker, on Jun's face. But it wasn't enough. The head still kept talking to him. He's like, okay, you know, maybe it's because the mind controls the body.
Ow, my
So if I
god,
can
my
separate the
fucking
two,
finger.
maybe the
I'm
head
gonna
will stop
break my
complaining.
finger.
So
What
he
the fuck?
separated. He decapitated
Bro, I don't
Jun's head
know.
using a handsaw.
Now we're
Decapitating a human is a lot harder than he thought. He had to really put his whole body into it. It was taking much longer than it would
Oh
with
my
cats or
God.
pigeons. But that could
Yeah,
also be
cats
because
or
he would
pigeons,
periodically
right?
stop to pleasure himself. He also wanted to take June's tongue as a souvenir
Oh
to
my
keep June in one of his
God.
special occasion by, but June was in rigor mortis
Wow.
and his jaw was too rigid to force open.
He got
But it's
some
fine,
real
because
life
he had done
issues,
it,
dog.
right? That's all that mattered to
I'm
Shinichiro.
like,
He had done it. He had killed. Again.
You're gonna see me cry.
This was not his first.
Oh.
Almost exactly a month after June's decapitated head was discovered, police pounded on Shinichiro's family door and they arrested 14-year-old Shinichiro. They came when Shinichiro was asleep in bed, and even when he found out that the cops were here for him, he took his time. He was moving extra slow, just sluggishly grabbing a pair of jeans, putting them on one by one like he's lazy. He starts slowly making his way down the stairs. The two officers are waiting for him. We just have a few questions we need to ask you. Would you mind coming with us for a bit? He just nods, and he follows them directly to the police station and into the interrogation room. Please take a seat over there, Shinichiro. The officers slam a thick file onto the desk. You know about June's case, right? I saw it on TV. People are saying that they saw him walking with you. June's a friend of my brother's.
Deadass,
He
it's
comes
not
around
even
sometimes,
been
but I never
that
played with
bad.
him before. The person must have been wrong. I'm sorry, but to be honest, I'm actually quite relieved. I think about if this had been my brother instead of June that had been killed. You're a rare breed, aren't you? You're lying. We know that, Shinichiro. But we wouldn't even be able to tell from your face. You're so good at it. No wonder people are fooled by you. I don't know what you guys are talking about, officers. There was
This
a
is
case back in March
crazy.
where a girl was stabbed with a knife. That was you, wasn't it? I showed her your picture, and she said she was sure that you're the one that stabbed her. Shinichiro stays quiet. On the same day, a girl was beaten to death with a hammer. Do you remember her? The girls. Of course he remembered the girls. How could he forget the girls?
No
He did try to
idea.
kill those girls. He was only successful in killing one, though. In Shinichiro's journal, it read, I was at the park and I saw a girl who was playing alone. I went up to her and I asked, is there anywhere I can wash my hands around here? She responded, there's a hand wash station at the school, and said that she could help lead him there. As we were walking, I debated whether I should use the knife or the hammer I brought with me. I eventually settled on the hammer and resolved to test out the knife the next time. After walking a little bit, I told her, I want to say thank you, so please turn around. Then, the moment she turned around, I pulled out the hammer and the girl screamed. I raised the hammer near my head and then I brought it down on the girl's head as hard as I could. I heard a dull thud sound. Then I hit her 2 or 3 more times, but I was so excited I don't even remember how many times fully. Afterwards, I went back to my bike and I rode away. He left 10-year-old Ayaka Yamashita in the park. Her head and face were left bloody and swollen. When found, she would be raced to the hospital. She would remain there for a week until she passed from her injuries. But that diary entry would continue. As I was biking away, a small boy
trying to get to my
caught my eye.
YouTube
I started
channel.
following him, but
Yeah,
he
it only
went inside
says
the
there's
apartment
one
complex and
person
disappeared, so I
here.
was disappointed. I kept biking down the street until I spotted a girl who's walking alone. I parked my bike a short distance behind her, and I cut through the park so that I ended up walking toward her as she walked toward me, and we were about to pass each other, but this time I pulled the knife out from behind my back pocket, and the knife entered her stomach. It felt like Play-Doh. He sliced into her stomach with a 5-inch knife. The average abdominal depth for an adult woman is 6 to 9
Laggy ass
inches
stream.
on
It's
average.
lagging.
I imagine it'd be a lot less for a 10-year-old. After I stabbed her, I returned to where I had parked my bike and I started on the route back to my house. When I got home, I heard a lot of ambulances and patrol car silence. Days later,
There,
another
is it
diary entry
better?
was written.
Fuck you guys.
Ayaka, the girl he attacked with the hammer, had passed away in the hospital, and the news of her death was making the rounds in Kobe. He wrote, when I went downstairs this morning after waking up, my mother told me, poor thing. Apparently the girl who got hit by the head by a random person passing by, I read the newspaper, and she's dead. He said, I found out the cause of death was caved-in skull caused by blunt force trauma to the head. The girl I hit with the hammer had died, but the girl I stabbed at the stomach had survived. I began to be confused. Are humans difficult or easy to destroy? The authorities were able to gather evidence that Shinichiro had attacked 3 little girls and killed one with a hammer. So he had attacked other ones with hammers as well.
So he's saying that the girl that died was just smashed on the head.
Yeah.
And she died.
Yes.
Versus the girl that, was stabbed, survived.
He's
now
confused.
he feels like, okay.
my
someone else
URL has
lived,
dog
and
in
the other
it.
one died.
It just says
Yeah.
dog
What
at the
about you?
end.
And he's
Look
like,
at my
are
URL.
humans fragile? Are they not fragile? Are they resilient? He's very confused.
This is RG
The
dog.
investigators
That's
would later ask
crazy.
Shinichiro, what feelings did you have toward the girl that you killed? I don't have any sort of feelings. The experiment that I concluded, I was just thinking about how I could bring about death with my own hands. In my mind, I think there was a lot of disgust in myself of thinking that way. Looking back now, I believe that the feeling was the last
Sweet
trace of my
fuck.
conscience and rationality that remained. But Shinichiro would not be going down without a fight. A very short, brief, underwhelming fight. He looked at the officers and he said, I'm exhausted already. Do you guys have any physical evidence or something that points to my guilt?
He just confessed.
Yeah. And the detective snaps, don't you dare underestimate the police, you brat. There's no way we could have dragged you here without any evidence. Shinichiro looks up at them bored, and the investigator said that they had never seen an expression so filled with so much hate and evil, but so
You don't see a
nonchalant at the same
URL.
time.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like not
you'd
even
have
like he's
to.
trying to be all like looking
Yeah.
at them crazy.
Because you're on your phone.
It's just evil, and it's so calm and casual. The detective slams his hands down on the table to emphasize how serious
I'm
he is.
actually
And he shouts,
traumatized
we've
by
got
this
hard
story.
evidence against you. All the essays you wrote in school, I had an analysis done by a handwriting expert, and the results show that the handwriting in the statement that you sent to the Kobe Shimbun
Sweet
and
Jesus
left on the severed head
Christ.
are identical to your school essay.
Damn.
Handwriting
Handwriting analysis gave him up.
of June. He throws Shinichiro's letters on the floor, and the handwriting was identical to his essays.
Fuck, what
Shinichiro
an
sat there,
idiot.
contemplating for a moment before looking up deadpan, and he just stated, I did it. After confessing to
He
all
just
the
says,
crimes,
I did
he was
it.
returned to his cell and he said, they kept me in a cell for the night. When I got under the duvet, the tears wouldn't stop. My body was tense, my teeth were tied up, and my tears ran down my temples like
Yeah,
sloppy
that's
drops
the
of water
end.
from
Is
a broken faucet. The only salvation for me was the death penalty, a life-threatening game without a
Actually,
reset
true.
button. If you lose, you'll be hanged. I will suffer the same fate as June, whose fate I have taken, and I will die. For me, that was the only ending. Fear spreads all over my body, like a drop of detergent falling on a greasy dish.
He talks like that? He
Yeah.
writes like that?
Yeah.
Huh.
At the time, I was 1,000 times more afraid to live than to die.
Yikes.
Why?
We don't know. He's like very, okay, so his book, he's very much, I don't know if he's trying to be. That's a huge debate. So the way he writes, it's almost as if he's contemplating his actions and debating whether or not his actions were born from genetics, whether they were nurtured, how he became this way. He doesn't want to be this way, he so claims. So all of his thoughts are very convoluted and
Yeah,
very
I don't-
prosy. I don't
I don't
believe
buy
it.
it, yeah.
I think that he's just doing it to be annoying. Yeah. He just wanted to know, though, are humans easy to destroy or not? But not everybody believed the police had the right killer. The school principal, along with a famous attorney who works extensively with wrongful convictions, had their doubts. I mean, they were very vocal about it. They stated the confession felt bizarre, perhaps he was forced. Their first argument was it just seemed implausible that a 14-year-old could commit such crimes. There were a few additional discrepancies. The police believed initially, strongly, that the killer was left-handed from analyzing the letters to the press.
Thanks for like the
But
3
Shinichiro is
hearts.
right-handed. Shinichiro had very bad grades, but the writing in his previous letters were pretty eloquent and needed at least some extent of a well-versed vocabulary. Which I don't know how much of that I can agree with.
No,
since
it's
I don't
the
read
same.
Japanese. However, he did write 2 English words in his
Thank you,
little
though,
note to the
Phoenix.
press. Like an American serial killer, he wanted a name for himself. So he sent a letter to the press calling himself Shoe Kill. He wanted to write School Killer, but he wrote Shoe Kill. And then he got really upset, so he sent another
What a
one
goofy
updating it
kid.
to Shoe Killer, but he didn't update it to School Killer.
How do you spell shoe?
SHOOL. Shoe Kill.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So there's that, but I mean, at the time, I guess it was a very prevalent, not a popular opinion, but a prevalent conversation that even Shinichiro's parents believed in his innocence. They
Thank
went to
you.
go see him in the juvenile facility 3 weeks after his arrest. They hadn't been able to see him since the day that he was taken from their family home. Shinichiro's mom did not believe that her son did this. So both of his parents sat down in front of him in the visitor area and he screamed, I told you not to come. How many times do I have to tell you that? Why are you here? He's glaring at his parents. He barely looked at them at the time of his arrest. Even when the police showed up to their house and took him away, he would refuse to turn around and look at his parents.
Yeah, listen to
And now
what
he's
Phoenix
glaring
is
at them.
saying. Hit that
His
like.
parents are
There's
taken
2
aback,
people
like
here.
they've never seen their child look like this. Who is this person? Shinichiro's mom kept pushing on. She just wanted to hear the truth, that Shinichiro was innocent. The police don't have anyone to go down for the murder. It's high profile, so they picked him. And on top of that, he was pressured by the police to confess. Just tell me. Shinichiro's mom begged him. She said, if he just uttered the magic 4 words, Mom, it's not me, she would have defended him. She would have fought till the very end. She would have spent the rest of her life fighting for his innocence. I want to hear it from your own mouth, Shinichiro. Did you kill June? Was it really you who killed June? Is there any possibility this is a false confession? Shinichiro looked at his parents for the first time since his arrest, and he stated, there is no doubt about it. I did it. How do you falsely confess to a crime that you absolutely did commit? Shinichiro told his mom how he lured June to Tank Mountain. I told him there were cool blue turtles on the mountain that I spotted on the other side. I could take him there. I said, do you want me to take you to see it? He led June up the mountain. There were steps leading up all the way, and once they walked all the way to the top, they reached the giant water tank. That's what Tank Mountain's named after. Shinichiro is realizing this is much harder than killing a cat, so he changes his tactic. Shinichiro knocks June forward, stumbles over him, and continues to strangle him. How is he not dying? Shinichiro scrambles so that he can sit on June's waist, and he pulls June's arms
Intermittent
back,
explosive
and he holds them with
device.
one arm, and he starts pushing his head into the ground, his face into the soil. It's not working, and he's gonna run out of energy soon. Shinichiro can feel it, so he flips June over, sits on his stomach, and starts strangling him with both his hands. He thinks back about how much fun it was with the cat to have additional supplies. So he reaches one hand out to the ground and starts touching anything, looking for something. He touches a cold, hard stone. He tries to pick it up, but it's embedded into the soil, and his nails are digging into the dirt, but the stone is not budging. You've got to be kidding me. What the hell am I going to do now? Shinichiro looks down to see that June's sneakers have fallen off. So with his right hand on June's neck, his left hand starts undoing the sneaker shoelaces. He finally springs it free, wraps it around June's neck, and starts pulling it tighter and tighter and tighter. And with his feet, he starts kicking.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna restart this live. Yeah, I'll be right back. Come over to the new one. We're gonna finish playing this, but just come over to the new one.